Student Report. Week 2. Kyle Nash.
Each time I feel like you try to make that a little shorter. Can it?
Okay, hold on. Oh, wait, wait. Student of the game report.
No. I'm not hating. I'm appreciating. It's fun. No, hey, listen.
What's good, man? Week 1 of the books.
Yeah, listen, there's enough that's going on, EJ Christian, to my playing hurt today seemed like something that had to happen. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm really not surprised you're playing hurt because you have done it in the past in this podcast over the course of 10 years. Been doing this report, 10-year anniversary, of course. But there's just so much going on, and then last night was the coup de grace of the week. Well, let's start there first.
All right,
because he's got the word just came in like 10 minutes ago. Confirmed. Aaron Rodgers, torn Achilles, out for the season.
I'd hate to go full Morningstar on you here, but if you were listening to the Student of the Game podcast, bing, he was identified as an injury risk up front, right?
Yes.
He had the thing in camp. He's damn near 40, and that O-line stinks. And I get it that Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback I reference in his late 20s. As the guy that won a Super Bowl with a lesser offensive line, but you weren't going to do that now. And I mean, what did surprise me, Ernest Christian, is I didn't think it happened this quickly.
5 plays? What was it? Five?
I think it was 4. Don't quote me. I don't know.
And I tweeted this last night too. The play before the injury, I tweeted this. It's on there saying, this is what I was concerned about the Jets. This right here was the O-line being too leaky. And because even before the injury, they had already started getting pressure on Rodgers. And then that play happened.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing that held me back from making the Jets a real Super Bowl contender. Because obviously everything else, the defense is really good.
Other than the fact you had them making the AFC Championship game.
No. I had to make the divisional round.
Oh.
Yeah, I won the division.
And who was it that kept kicking up all those debates as to whether they can? Somebody on the panel was fighting hard.
I think Big Jim had in the ACE title game, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Well, I had Bengals Chiefs again.
There'll be more on that on the Huddle Up podcast
tonight, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on all platforms, YouTube, yes. And
as we're recording, of course, on this lovely
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning, September 12th. Yes.
Regardless of the Rodgers injury, and obviously we'll probably get into that now because obviously the Jets still win last night in overtime, 22-16, in a game that honestly was very impressive in the fact that the Aaron Stadium went out pretty quickly. Remember, started that game out with the 9/11 tribute. Rodgers brings the flag down the field, and then the injury happens, and then the entire area is out of the stadium. Credit to Robert Saleh and that staff and that team for sticking, for really keeping focus, which they could, because it felt like Buffalo was going to take over that game and run away with it.
But he's going to be on the hot seat, EJ Christian. That Robert Saleh, he's not,
Who said that?
Saying. It's hard to tell you, but you wouldn't
listen.
Actually, in this part, I just there isn't an initial that would actually be a true misappropriation. I'm just pointing out something where Anyways, shall we continue?
So let's talk about the Jets narrative first. We'll look at the Bills because the Bills, I have concerns there, but the Jets first.
Right.
I thought Zach Wilson, given everything with him, the narratives, I thought he looked solid as the game progressed. He wasn't great. He just didn't play. He didn't lose the game for the Jets. He played well enough for the team to put him in position to win the game. I thought he was decent.
No, I can't go there. I'll say this: if this team is going to try to remain competitive for a playoff spot, the defense is going to do the heavy lifting. But he can't keep playing like that. I mean, but this isn't about Zach Wilson, who I told you years back should not have been a draftee as high as he was. I think you remember I've been
absolutely
pretty stable on that.
Yes.
And
right now, you'd be proved right.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't be the first time. Certainly won't be the last. But
oh damn.
That the defense won this game. I'm not even prepared to have the Zach Wilson conversation because all we're going to do is hit ourselves in the head with he's inevitably a downgrade to what was expected.
Yeah, 14-21, 140, a touchdown to pick. Yeah, like I said, definitely defense held serve here. He did enough to keep the game close enough to where the Jets could, again, special teams won the game for them in overtime as well too with the punt return.
Well,
and whatnot.
Here's the way to put it. By the way, the punt return for the win was like that makes total sense.
Yeah,
because I don't think Wilson would have won the game for them in that
fashion.
And I know I'm skipping ahead to this, but you alluded to the Bills' concern. As much as I think the answer with Josh Allen is somewhere in the middle. Those worship him, those that hate him. But I'll tell you, Josh Allen did the most to lose that football game.
Without question.
I'm not saying that to take anything. The Jets' defense won the football game.
Yes.
Okay. But Josh Allen's stats are proof of that. But what I wanted before I'm really secured in saying that this was all Josh Allen's fault, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's not take away from this Jets defense. Let's see if they make another quarterback look silly next week. I haven't looked at the schedule yet, so I don't know who that is.
They play the Cowboys next week.
If they make Dak look crazy, are people going to start to take a dump on him? Even though I know all the Cowboys are going to say, "Whoa, why isn't everyone critical to Josh Allen?" Dude, first of all, tell me you don't watch Nick Wright without telling me you don't watch Nick Wright. I mean, come on. And he's not the only one, too. It seems constantly. This is going to sound worse than it really is. For those that make the color of the quarterback part of their agenda and story on the social medias, Josh Allen is the guy that constantly gets picked on. And that volume of criticism assures it. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying it's a fact. Meanwhile, while there will be those out there that criticize Dak Prescott because of certain political stances he's taken, because of he looks like how he looks, I'm using all the proper metaphors, right? The other problem is more connected to Forbes magazine than it is to anything else. Dak is always going to get more criticism because it sells more papers, air quotes, right? The Dallas Cowboys, for reasons I'm still trying to fathom, are regularly reminding us, we're regularly reminded, I should say, that they're the most popular in sales among NFL franchises, second to the Steelers, which actually makes sense. But yeah. So I mean, if you're the most popular, people are going to put you on the show more. Ergo, you're going to get more love and hate.
Yeah, the Josh Allen thing, when he has games like this, it starts to, like, to your point, it wakens up that crowd of He gets his criticism. He does get it.
He should.
I got Nick Wright. He's been on this for about now a year and a half now, 2 years, and it's deserved. But let's also be measured here. And the guy doesn't suck.
Which brings me back to the main point that I want to hit. The Jets defense deserves an ass ton of credit. Period. Right. Point blank. End of story. Sauce Gardner looks like he got beat by Stephon Diggs in a significant point in the game late there, and he manages to draw an offensive pass interference from Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
Okay. And don't get me started with Quinn and Williams in that group up front. They're really good.
We're gonna discuss this a lot in the weeks to come on the show. As we go forward the season,
the Giants, Brian Daboll actually wasn't the coach of the year last year.
I'm glad you're
finally coming around to the. You can't handle the truth.
You calm down. AP coach of the year. It's in the stone. Thank you. You get it wrong. I get it. Yeah. Whatever. We'll get to the Giants in a second. Trust me. That's the next on the docket.
Oh, I have no doubt.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Forward to that segment.
No, absolutely. No. The Jets moving forward.
Right.
Given the AFC this year, what we believe to be so far, can you see this team without Aaron Rodgers still finding a way to make the playoffs? Was that Wilson under center?
I mean, if you'll remember my prediction, I had them making 10 games with Aaron Rodgers and still missing the playoffs just barely.
Okay.
But no, I don't. Because Zach Wilson isn't always going to play that clean.
Yeah. And yet, I believe people are going to say, get this quarterback off this quarterback. I think if I'm the Jets now, and by the way, also with the narrative about Aaron Rodgers, the Jets got to think long term here now, because we're not talking about Aaron Rodgers missing this season. It is very plausible that we have seen the last of Aaron Rodgers as an NFL quarterback in this league, given the injury. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the Achilles injuries are not at age 39. I mean,
I saw you coming in with the hot take train, and I mean, at some point, your wife's going to get sick of helping you rehab it with all the damn knee replacements you suffered from jerking them out.
She's okay. She's okay with it.
You better hope so.
Yeah.
No, but
lasted 17 years.
Well, that's mostly because Tom Brady would eventually retire.
Which
No,
he did.
It feels raunchy to talk about it, but I'm not here to say what you're speculating is a possibility is impossible. I think there's some there. I'd rather, the damn, I'd rather the light on the MRI, have properly powered down before we start speculating it.
Right. I'm just looking at optics, of course, and he already did consider retiring this offseason as it was without an injury.
Well, okay. For clarity, how often has Aaron Rodgers talked about considering retirement? That's just kind of a thing he does as part of his, annual hippie ayahuasca, what have you, stuff that he does.
Yeah. Across the Jets, I'm the Bills. I mean, obviously, I have the Bills in the playoffs. Jets win the division. I mean, by default, you would say, okay, well, the Bills should be able to get that last spot, 7th spot at least now with the Jets being out. But there were a lot of concerns with the Bills team moving forward. And I told you guys already before the season started, my biggest concern with the Bills this year had to do with the schedule. The schedule, of course, and they didn't get any better this offseason. And now they're already behind the ball one game now.
In a game that argued that they should have won. No, not must won, should have won. Listen.
No, that was the other team. The must win for the other team, which they did, by the way. But
this is all just very confusing. It's
week
1. There's no such thing as a must win.
Okay, woke Jim, relax. Okay, woke Jim.
No, see, this is where Jim was nicer to me than I am right now.
Jim's nicer to me? You're nicer to me.
On this topic, because he actually tried to go sink down to your level.
Oh, wait, the rabbit hole's right. Yesterday on the text, we got a rabbit hole.
And then here I just come in, or maybe there's no such thing as a win, as a must win in week 1. Maybe that.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't make you correct. We keep running into the same problem. Stop setting the table.
So you and I have a theme on this podcast for every year. We're doing this 10 years now. Week 1 after, we always talk about overreactions and whatnot.
Well, I mean, we don't.
Bills in trouble.
Week 1 based on you.
On the Bills in trouble. What weekend?
Well, I mean, I don't think this is an overreaction. We've been talking about that they're in trouble throughout the preseason, right? The fact that I said that the Bills will only have 10 wins made me a heretic in my own right, and then they blow this game was one they should have won, right?
Yeah, without Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
So well, in the second half at least, or well, I should say
no,
right, early on. Yeah, forget it. I'm wrong. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, they were in trouble from what we could tell going into it. It's hard for me to really put a finger on what it is. Granted, can we please give the Jets defense some goddamn credit?
Absolutely, without question.
But yeah, no, the Bills have a terrible road, and if they sneak in as a wild card, we'll see what happes. But that's a big step they have to achieve first. I have them getting it, and I think I had them losing this game anyway.
Right. So. Right. All right, let's go backwards one night, same stadium. Dallas Cowboys beat the Giants 40-0. So story time here. Story time on the Earnestly podcast. I went to bed at halftime. I was not having that shit. I was like, I said, you're not wasting my Sunday. I'm already tired as this. Dude, had a long day. Fuck you guys. I'm going to sleep. Thinking that my wife, Lauren, would turn off the game at some point. She left the game on the entire time. I fell asleep. Fourth quarter, I go to the bathroom. It's like 40-0, like late in the fourth quarter. I'm like, honey, you do realize I fell asleep. You could turn the game off. She laughed at me. 40-0 Cowboys, Giants.
I've heard your wife's voice to imagine an evil laugh.
Yeah.
As she says to you, I know Kyle will want you to realize that your coach should not have been the coach of the year last year.
I can see that playing out too, especially. Giving her humor. Yeah, absolutely.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
And I did not. I'm still correct. Anyway, that being said,
of course you are.
I do feel like there is, I don't know, overreaction on this from people. Because I had Dallas win the Super Bowl before the year started.
That's still the bigger overreaction. I had the Giants at 8 wins anyway. So
right. The Giants, are they that bad? Probably not. Well, no more this week against Arizona.
Right. So understand, I think this was a matchup problem and also week
Mhm.
one jitters, and divisional game, like all the check all the boxes for anomaly time here. But um no, the Giants aren't 40-0 bad. You're just thrown into a buzzsaw that is specifically designed to murder you. So actually, they're specifically designed to murder the Philadelphia Eagles. You just have a much worse O-line.
Yeah. By the way, I just saw something here from Bleach Report. Because of the Rodgers injury, the Packers will not receive the Jets 2024 first round pick.
Correct. He had to play a certain percentage of snaps at least. So yeah.
He didn't get there?
I see what you did there. Shut up.
We're 0 for 1? 0 for 1. Not even completion this year. Wow.
Not even a completion. Jeez. That's worse than Brett Favre.
Yeah. So Dallas, I mean, what did you take away from Dallas? Are you got to see more? I mean, that defense.
Absolutely. And listen, you know what I did enjoy is the fact that they're running Pollard the way that they did. I too did not watch the entire game, but the fact that I saw Pollard's number called as much as it was, the fact that I saw as minimal a use of Dakota Prescott as I did, maybe they'll do it every week. Who knows?
And that was solely a defensive game because there was nothing on the offense I saw that was like, oh my god, this is three faces game.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: like you hear the people, well, they need to clean up some things on offense. Maybe that's true. I'm in no position to judge a team's offense that put up 40 goddamn points. Okay, right. So you want to evaluate the offense, you're gonna have to wait till next week from me. Okay,
yeah. Against the Jets, formidable defense. The Giants, we'll see. I mean, like I said, that's a burn and tape game. See you next week.
Oh, for both sides.
Yeah, seriously. All right, let's get to the top of the Lions 21-20 on Thursday over the Chiefs.
Damn it. People want to keep trying to tell me that Man Campbell isn't a good coach, but I know I didn't have Kelsey and they didn't have Chris Jones. Okay, listen. Both significant pieces. Kelsey being far more significant. Patrick Lavon Mahomes II had some Patrick Lavon Mahomes II moments closing the first half to assure that they had the lead, et cetera, et cetera. Kadarius Toney, I feel sad watching all the hate he's getting, but he was obviously a big part of it.
Play better. Sorry, play better.
What we learned is if you keep the Lions in the game, they will bite your kneecaps off. Period. Point blank.
That's true. This is my take from that game. As bad, it kind of reminds me of the Super Bowl loss to Tampa back in 2 years ago. Is that as bad as that was for the Chiefs in terms of like the drop passes and all that? And there was many, believe me, and the pick six, of course, that wasn't even Mahomes' fault. It was off the receiver.
Yep.
The Chiefs almost won the game anyway. And I don't want to take away from the Lions either because they did their job playing a tough game on the road, even without the missing pieces of Jones and Kelsey. I still pick the Chiefs win the game because of the fact it was better night. It's still Arrowhead. It's still Pat Mahomes, and they figured out a way to do it. So for the Lions to do what they did was actually still impressive, no matter how you slice it. But the Chiefs almost won that game though too. Also, so I don't want to overreact on either way. I don't want to say, oh, Detroit got lucky, like this and that. You know what I mean? But
and I know you won't do it because you're too much of a Niners fan. But later, if you came out, and somehow I can't compete. If you came out during Tool time with the Chiefs still at 1, I wouldn't be mad at you. You won't do that. And
more on that later.
Yeah,
more on that later. I'll tell you. You'll see it tonight. I already submitted.
I'm not asking you to reveal it.
And for the record, no, I'm not gonna say a word. I already submitted the rankings to Big Jim about an hour ago. So
okay, so I will make this bet right here on your show, and then you can listen on Huddle Up
tonight.
I'm wrong, and if I tonight as we record it, but if you're listening to this via the pod, check out the Huddle Up podcast for the week. Bing. But if I'm wrong, and you have somebody other than because you've already turned it in, so you have somebody other than the Niners, I will send your family another piece of Student of the Game swag. That's how certain I am you have the Niners at 1.
More on that later.
More on that
later. All right. Falcons over the Panthers 24-10. I mean, NFC South. matchup, whatever.
Incredibly unimpressed by the Falcons. Yeah, okay. They beat the Panthers. I think I might have picked Carolina to win. Bryce Young had some moments. The Falcons defense, I knew they were improved, but they showed up in a way I wasn't quite prepared for. And credit to them, for looking better than they have in a while. Mm-hmm. This is not an impressive team. Bijan Robinson's amazing. I get it. This is not an impressive offense.
The only defense I have for the Falcons, I said before they started, and we discussed it last week, and I think on my preview with Zach about a month ago, is the schedule may make it somewhat palatable for them to flirt with a wild card spot. Given also the fact that the NFC is also very weak outside of 3 teams.
Well, wild card, they may still win it unless Derek Carr gets significantly better. But all he did was help. By the way, all the people that try to give me a hard time putting the Titans at 7 wins got awfully fucking quiet. EJ Christian. And I only did that because this is on your show and I can't even get away with that. But funny how that shit works.
Exactly. Browns ordered the Bengals 24-3. My takeaway is this one. Not surprised. I actually picked the Browns win this game outright.
I wasn't brave enough to do that, and then as I watched it happen, I'm like, yeah, what the hell,
It's the way it happened. Here's what I'll say, Kyle.
The offensive line sucks. Next question.
I think the Browns are better than people give credit for. I also think the Bengals uses the first couple weeks of the year as a tune-up.
Well, especially when your quarterback has missed time throughout camp.
Correct.
And have to.
So I think this is more about the Browns being more better than we think they are, but the Bengals are not as bad as this score.
Well, consider how the game went. Okay. So I like that you're trying to be cautious, but there's some place where you're going a little too nuts at the same time, right?
In terms of what?
The 24-3, considering what you did to this team, you only putting up 24 tells me an awful lot about your offense.
Yeah.
Right.
Work in progress. I agree.
Just to say it ain't there. Now, is it because they understand that they're a run first team and 24 points is or so is what we're going to expect and they're going to try to control the ball? If that's true, I'd love to see it. In time of possession, the Browns had damn near 12 more minutes. So maybe that's it. Maybe they're going to, even though, people get, Deshaun Watson's going to have a great year. 16 for 29, 154, a touchdown and a pick is not a great year, right? That's Zach Wilson numbers, right?
I will say this, though. The weather also played a part in this game, too, also. You're going to pass. Just saying that there's rain, too, also.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not even saying the Browns are a playoff team. I'm just saying that I remember saying that they're part of that team in the AFC only because of the fact that the AFC is so damn deep.
Right.
There's only spots.
The Browns doing what they did is why the AFC North is the best division in the league.
Correct. Obviously, I want to see more of the Browns. If the Browns are, say, 3-1 by the first quarter of the year, then maybe we're having a conversation about them maybe being a possible frisky wildcard team. We'll see what happens there.
Here's what they got going for them, which is interesting. Even though I don't have them smelling late season success at all, when they're playing late in the year, this ground and pound running attack is useful in that time of year. So if they're hanging around into December, they might get frisky.
Correct, and hope, and maybe by then Deshaun Watson has everything put together by then. We'll see. Your Jags. 31-21 Jags over the Colts. Let me say this. I came away really impressed with the Jags in this game because all the hype that the Jags with the AFC South, this and that, and then it felt like most of that game was like, oh, they melt down under 80 expectations already up the gate. And then they figure things out in the fourth quarter.
Wait, you mean there's 4 quarters in the fucking football game? Wow.
To me, it was impressive that they figured out a way in the fourth quarter to put, even as a team we believe as bad as the Colts are, or going to be this year.
Right.
The Jags figure a way out. And by the way, this is the first win in 9 years in Indy, I believe.
This is the second win in 11 tries.
There we go. So it's still impressive.
So, Lucas Oil Stadium, which is an amazing facility, by the way.
So my takeaway is the Jags, I think, look impressive in the fourth quarter, and they look like a team that I believe are going to win 10+ games this year.
So a few things. Anthony Richardson's not bad, man.
I said it. He's the guy I'm most looking forward to watching this year.
I've said I like the pick. I said him over Will Levis all day. The student of the game, real mock draft didn't even have Will Levis in the first damn round, and now you know why. Hopefully this can maintain, but Him also getting hurt late is its own level of disturbing, right? You mentioned that there weren't a lot of great plays from the Jags. No, I don't think that's fair either. And the interior of the line is the problem. Mm-hmm. And if you were listening to the Duval Dive this past Friday, 11 a.m.,
part of the Game podcast, by the way.
That is a piece of the Student the Game podcast, but you could also see it up on the Huddle Up Podcast YouTube channel, bing, as well as Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome, bing. But, seeing Stephon Ridley take over the first half, the way he touched Stephon, Calvin Ridley. Stephon Ridley's a washed running back that used to play for the Patriots. One of my Calvin Ridley, to see him take over. Honestly, if he didn't step out of bounds on what set up the Zay Jones touchdown, he would have had over 100 for 2 touchdowns and could have gotten a game ball, then. But yeah, and Zay Jones, what a catch for that second touchdown. Yeah. Anyway, no. But and the throw with Trevor Lawrence that's between 2 Colts that KO each other. Anyways, no, I mean, for all the bad play there was, the biggest issue is the interior line. And then with Brandon Schreff, him looking like he's going to miss some time with that sprained ankle. Just in time for Chris Jones to sign back with the Chiefs for next week. I mean, listen.
Which he did officially last night.
Yeah, that's the joke.
Right, yeah.
But, I mean, listen, this was a solid open. If you felt people came out panicked and they still scored 31 points, that should tell you and the only reason why the Colts had 21 was because DeForest Buckner's a damn beast.
Yes.
And that play was weird. It was very confusing what was going on. And
he officiated, had to go over that play over and over again. It's weird. Yeah. I don't worry about them. The Colts are going to be one of those teams that fun to watch because of Richardson, but look, they'll be a bottom 5 team most of the year in my rankings. I know that. That's where I expect it to be.
Well, I think you'll be surprised at how much the AFC South crawls out of your bottom 5.
We shall see. More on that later. All right.
Later.
Tampa 20, Minnesota 17.
God, the Vikings are bad, aren't they?
Look, fuck the Vikings. They fucked my parlay. I had a 14 parlay. Got 3 teams right.
Personal.
Oh, it's definitely personal. I hit 3 to 4 parlay. I hit 3 of my 4 legs of the parlay, and then they screwed my parlay.
See, that's what it is. Christian man, Kirk Coupons wanted to make you pay for the sin of gambling. That's what.
It's no secret that we all believe the Vikings are going to come down to earth this year. The question is going to be how far down.
I have them at 8 wins.
5-game difference from last year. I thought they maybe
still be 13 last year.
Correct.
They lost to Jeff Saturday, remember?
Minus 5-point differential last year and a 13-14. That's kind of pathetic. I'm sorry.
I think what's more telling, EJ Christian, is everybody wanted to call the Giants game, the Giants playoff win, an upset. Nobody on our panel picked the Vikings for that game.
I believe you're right. And I think this is troubling. Look, overreaction Monday, week 1, after we go to week 2, we get it. We could be seeing the end of Kirk Cousins in Minnesota this year.
Oh, I mean, that'd be true even if they were doing well. He's getting up there.
Right. But not only that, but I think if week 1 was a sign things to come for the Vikings, outside of the coach is brand new still.
The only scenario, if we're going to do this bullshit, the only scenario I think that keeps one Kirk Cousins alive is if the silliness about Kyle Shanahan wanting to bring him in after his Vikings contract ends happens. Here's the thing. He's going to demand a big old contract, and I just don't see it getting signed by this group.
Yeah. Tampa, I mean, I did say during the over-unders that they 6.5 wins over-under. I did say that Tampa could get that 7 win. The schedule pieces out. Baker has some weapons. Mike Evans played well. Maybe a wild card flirt. You got one game in.
By mathematics alone in the NFC, everyone's flirting with the wild card.
Well, the 1 game in.
I'm sure. Listen, I'm sure Kate Upton has a lot of dudes that flirt with her. Doesn't mean any of them actually get the time.
All right, we got the Saints 16, Titans 15. Snoozer fest.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
Tell
Oh,
me
but
what?
we have DeAndre Hopkins. Left. Okay. Who's throwing the? Oh, how many? Oh, I see. You know what actually made this game close though, just as I kind of predicted. I didn't predict a 1-point game. I'll grant you that. But that Titans defense is good, dude. Titans defense is good.
That's all they got.
It is. Well, and give Derrick Henry some credit.
Well, yeah, King Henry is pretty good.
He's all right. You know. I
Um,
mean,
Derek Carr, not bad, 300 yards.
yeah. He had one interception that was really bad. That's leaving. You know, but I think some of that is again, a quarterback doing bad is one thing, but sometimes it's the defense being that good that helps, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, I can't really build on that. And if you keep any week when you keep Derrick Henry under 100 yards, especially the week where both sides are
under 70. So yeah,
exactly. Especially when the score on both sides is under 20, meaning they're utilizing the run game. They're
absolutely
not catch up. That's an accomplishment. And listen, I've said on the Student of the Game podcast, bing, that the Saints have become a defensive team and that this is the best defense that Derek Carr's played with, and we saw that this week.
The road to number 1 seed for the Saints has started.
I mean, if you think I'm in any position to trust the Falcons more than them, you're out of your mind. You know.
By the way, Chris Olave.
Oh, he good. That boy
good. That boy good. Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how this team plays out though. But the Saints are schedule's pretty easy. They in my opinion should cakewalk to the NFC South title, but we'll see. All right, we shall see.
Yeah.
Ooh, here we go. This is close to your home. Niners 30. Steelers 7.
Did not see the Niners putting up 30 points on the Steelers.
Kyle. With all due respect to your Niners, my whole obsession with them last couple of years on the show. I picked the Steelers to win. This is my upset of the week.
I might have picked the Steelers. I'd have to check the tape. I might have picked the Steelers for this one too. Not knowing what one had in Brock Purdy, but there's so many damn weapons on this squad. And by the way, did you see the receivers blocking downfield to get McCaffrey his score? Oh, that's chemistry, man. This group loves each other.
I want to be measured by this too, also, because by the way, Niners in all three phases were fantastic. All three phases. Right. The Steelers aren't that bad.
No, listen. Okay, and I know everybody's like, "Oh, Kenny Pickett sucks." Everyone sucks against the Niners defense. Hello. You have to know this group was hyped. Bosa being signed during the week leading up to it. You had to know those things were factors.
And not only that, this is the first game since the it might have been a tragic NFC title game last year. You know?
Yeah. Well, that might have its own impact. And also, by the way, they're flying from west to east, if I remember that this was this? I forget where.
Yes, it was in Pittsburgh, yes.
Holy snap, dude.
Impressive week for Niners.
This is why I'm making the bet that if you don't have them at number 1, your family will get more Student of the Game swag. I won't tell you what. It'll be at my choice. It might even be a roll of toilet paper. I don't know, but
hey, cool.
Green toilet paper, that's kind of gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
No, I was impressed with that. And the Steelers, I don't think they're as bad as that game, but I expect course correction from them next week or two. So, all right. Stews Fest, Commanders, Red Tails, whatever the hell they call them these days. I don't give a damn. They win 2016 over the Cardinals in a game they should barely. Like, to me, this says more about Washington, honestly.
Hey, listen, here's what I'm gonna tell you. You can't spell Howell without a couple of L's. I'm just saying.
Yeah, this team's gonna be. Look, they didn't even cover the spread for this game, kind of loud at home. That's a problem. Yes, it's a win. Yes, so cool. But yeah, I don't see this Washington team being any good this year.
No amount of Eric Bieniemy yelling can save the squad this season.
But at least silver lining, Daniel Snyder's gone. The same. All right, Ravens 25, Texans 9. Wasn't too impressed with the Ravens in this day, to be honest with you.
I know. See, you're making another mistake. Who tried to tell you that this Texans defense was going to be better than you thought?
You did say that. Yeah, to be fair, you did say that.
And that's why you saw what you saw.
Yeah. Yeah. Lamar was I mean, he was efficient, but no touchdowns, one pick. Yeah. I mean, I guess to get Texas credit.
Game.
It's all matters. Win the game. It's all matters. Win the game, and that's all matters, right? So,
I mean,
all right.
Does that offense necessarily? I would feel like you'll see plenty of games if that offense works the way that we're alleging that it's supposed to, right? And Lamar Demetrius Jackson is finding more deep stuff down the field. I would assume that there'll be a lot of moments where they'll be in the red zone after a big play, and then they'll use the handoffs to finish the job. And why the hell wouldn't you?
Right.
You know, see. And I'll grant I didn't watch the most stuff from this game, but I saw enough plays to know that listen, the Texans offense was in trouble. You asked CJ Stroud to throw it 44 times. I mean, come on. He still did though. I ain't mad at it. You know, Lamar efficient is good. Having a pick obviously is bad, but again, this defense is better than you think. You know.
Yeah. And I think they'll flirt at 6 wins this year. Like I had the under, but it'd be flirting with a 6.5.
I have the Titans at 7. That's true. I also have the Texans matching them at 7.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. The Packers 38, Bears 20. Impressive win. Jordan Love's debut as a start. Well, debut as a week 1 starter rather. 15-27 for 3.
Debut as the franchise guy.
Right? 245 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And all this about the best receiver, Christian Watson, too.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I did not watch much of this game because I was expecting it to go way different than it did. And you know, it's interesting. They mixed in run and it didn't go like they dared Jordan Love to throw the ball and he did. So he's at least that good. And frankly, in that division, being a good enough quarterback, you can make a difference. Please see Jared Goff. So
feel like, you know, I was saying that Minnesota was like the most stable team in the division. I feel like, look, this is a 1 game sample. I'm not trying to overreact here.
And I need you to define stable too, but continue.
Like you have a solid quarterback, okay offense for the most part. Defense is hit or miss at times. Depends on how.
Nobody has a quarterback that pulls away from the rest of the group in that division.
Correct. But I feel like Green Bay might be making the case now for the stable team in the division. Could be.
I'm not there yet.
We'll see. It was 1 game in though, so
I'll still take the Lions first.
Right, to your point. Chicago, the Bears though, disappointing. This is really disappointing. I mean, look, I'm not saying with playoffs, but geez, I mean, this is the way. It's the way. It's not so much a loss. It's the way they lost.
I'll agree with that. The Bears, I have the Bears at 8 wins. And I question that now.
This one again. We don't want to overreact to 1 game, but that was a bad start to the year. Really bad start to the year. Raiders 17, Broncos 16. My takeaway this one. Yeah, my takeaway is this. Our boy Rusty was good. He wasn't good enough. And if you're paying that guy that kind of money, he's got to be better than just checkdowns and just 5-yard throws. He's got to be special. I don't know if it's a Sean Payton problem here in this game or whatnot, but he didn't lose him in the game. Let's put it that way. But he wasn't special enough. And I think with that kind of money, the kind of price tag he's getting, he's got to be special.
Well, you're not wrong. What I think more does it for me is that the Raiders defense is supposed to be this bad, but and yet, you know, look at what they're doing, right? You know, here, like I'm counting, what is it, 2 sacks, and what is it here, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Raiders
tackles for a loss by the Raiders. Yeah, I mean, this is Sean Payton dealing with that O-line that he criticized. Listen. 27 completions for 177 is trash.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Checkdowns.
You know, and listen, I'm a rusty guy, but also they were without Jerry Jeudy, in fairness, you know, but
yeah, I wasn't impressed.
Who is their downfield guy? Who's their number 1 on this list?
Isn't Sutton?
Then you're
after him.
Like the problem. And I know I'm going to be called a rusty apologist, and at this point maybe I am, but I don't see this team having weapons. I don't.
Yeah. Garoppolo though was pretty efficient.
I mean, when you have Devontae Adams, it helps. This is what we've learned today.
The kid Myers pretty good too, though. Another kid Myers.
Yeah. Sure. I'm taking nothing from Jacoby Myers, no question. I mean, hell, he had the 2 touchdowns on the day. Garoppolo. Listen, I've been a Garoppolo guy. What eventually made me cash in my chips on Garoppolo, Ernest Christian?
Was it Super Bowl? Or was it before that?
Can't help the club in the tub.
Yeah,
we'll see how efficient he is in Week 15.
Right, if he's even there.
Correct. There you go. That's the joke, right?
That's the joke. Take the joke. Yes. All right. 3 more games here. We got the Eagles winning 25-20 over the Patriots. So I got to tell you, once things settle down, because the Pats fell behind 60-0 in this game, the Pats outplayed the Eagles pretty much after the first quarter.
Yeah, maybe.
Because, again, they were down 9-0. Once was a pick six.
Right.
Take away a pick six, and that's a game, and the Pats may actually win that game. Jalen Hurts was not that. He wasn't impressive.
This was a team with 2 good defenses battling each other.
Correct.
And one team didn't have an offense. Period.
Yeah. Mac Jones, I thought looked pretty good though. 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. The 1 pick was even his fault. I thought once he settled down the second half, he was actually really good.
Putting up 316 against the Eagles is impressive.
I agree. Yeah. Eagles, like I said, the Eagles, I thought they weren't their best. Obviously, we'll see better. I think I'm not an Eagles fan, obviously, but we'll see better of them in the weeks to come. Obviously, they just came out with a big win. The Pats, maybe the Pats aren't as bad as you think they are.
Yeah, well, and did Sirianni come out in this game with everything from the playbook? I think this is one he's putting some stuff back.
Oh yeah, very possible. Very possible. I know that you're the hunted now, so therefore, you knew you were going to win this game defensively anyway. Right.
Why make it 40-something-9 when you can win this way? That's fine.
Now a game that wasn't defensive at all. Dolphins 36.
Buddy, I believe my precise quote when I was talking about this game with your guy Booga Peters, was a shootout that would rival the one at OK Corral with the Earps and the Clampets. Listen, man, this is what we expected from these quarterbacks. And the only sad part is that one of them has to lose, so somebody has to talk trash. But these quarterbacks did what these quarterbacks are supposed to do, man. Tua and Tyreek, man. That combo is lethal as hell. Tua 20. I don't understand why this is news, though. And I know, EJ, this is actually one where I'm not dropping a morning star on you, but for the rest of the country out there, I keep trying to tell you, but you won't listen. And you back me on this. I want to go on record. If you're going to make a TikTok of me on this show, of the Student Game Report, I want it here. Start the clock now. Who was it that had the Dolphins as a potential top 5 team preseason if it weren't for the injury concerns? Who said that in text to you, EJ Christian? And you did. The main reason I don't have the Dolphins sniffing playoffs is because of Tua. Of course, now that Rodgers is out, maybe he'll have to recalibrate that a little bit. No, not necessarily, because if Tua's not healthy either, that still might be an issue. Well, right, exactly. And I think Eric Lopez put it best on the Student of the Game pod. Bing! The guy I work with at the Black and Gold Banneret. Bing! See, there's a twofer for you. Yeah. But the thing that Lopez said was, it's not that he has to play the whole season, but if he gets 12 games in, this team has a good playoff shot. 466 yards, and he left more on the table. Imagine this: 3 touchdowns, but he fumbled the ball on the opening drive on the 5-yard line, and threw a pick also too. But what to say with it? But to the credit to the favorite coach of one Jim Neese, Kellen Moore, very balanced offense today on that game. Which is surprising but refreshing. You attacked the Dolphins in such a way that they couldn't concentrate on something. Because if you're one-dimensional against the Dolphins, they have enough talent in the interior defensive line with Christian Wilkins to make things a problem for you.
Yeah, balanced attack. They had over 200 yards rushing.
Yeah. Austin Eckler did his job.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, you said the Dolphins possibly could be. With the Jets being compromised with Rodgers down, possibly could be a playoff team. We'll see.
Sauce Gardner can't cover all the receivers. Okay.
Right. All right. Finally, here the Rams shocked the Seahawks 30-13. No Cooper Kupp. We saw the return of Matthew Stafford this week, but no Cooper Kupp. That's impressive. Yeah. And it's kind of going on the radar a little bit too, also with all the other stuff going on in the league.
Well, one, this is what happens when you have two teams that are, basically just sold out west. Even though my good friend from the Irish NFL show, Colm Cronin, had them going to the Super Bowl. Oh God,
to Seattle?
Yeah.
Okay. I know he's seen there.
He predicted the Eagles last year. That's all he could respond to me with. Anyways, no, but John Matthew Stafford with his 24 of 38 and the 30 over 300 yards. I get it. But my question is this, and Aaron Donald's on the defense, so I can put together the dots that slow the Seahawks beneath 20 points.
That's 30-13 though?
Right, that's my point. The Seahawks defense is pretty bad. And that's the side of the ball Pete Carroll spent so much time developing in what eventually pushed Russell Carrington Wilson away. So for all the people that want to say Pete Carroll won the divorce, let's be clear, Pete Carroll's new girlfriend is starting to cause him problems too.
Yeah. So are you encouraged, because obviously with Stafford, we had a lot of questions about Stafford coming to the year, injuries, the whole nine. Are you encouraged by one game already that maybe this Rams team is going to be better than we think they are?
No. Matter of fact, I said that they would do better than a lot of people thought, and I was seen as optimistic for picking 7 wins, that is.
I got my 8.
Okay, you're just as optimistic as me, apparently.
Yeah.
Punchline is, it's a long-ass season, Ernest Christian.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, no Cooper Kupp, though. You still got Atwell and Nakua. Both have 119.
Which is why I'm questioning the Seahawks defense.
Exactly. Good point. So that's this week's NFL wrap-up here on the Shooting Game Report. All right, let's go to do this now. College football. Let's look at officially the updated top 25. I'll get this up real quick. Give me 1 second. The updated top 25 is right here. Could you see that, sir?
I got it. Yeah.
All right. So right now, and we'll run through the top 25 and we'll see narratives. Georgia 1, Michigan 2. No changes there. No shock. They took care of business. Michigan out Harbaugh. Georgia's doing what they always do. They're the new Alabama, of course.
Yep.
Florida State moves up to 3 with a very, very impressive win.
That tells me that the people at large are still pretty high on LSU. I'm not mad at this point at putting an ACC team that's pretty darn useless as a conference in the top 5. 3's a little too high. I think USC and Texans and USC and the Longhorns should definitely be above FSU, but them above Ohio State right now, I'll completely allow that.
Okay. Well, they were going to move down though. There was 4 last week. That's the thing.
And they shouldn't have been.
Right. They're too high also.
Yeah, the Knowles should be at 5 right now.
Well, and to your point, they're weighing the LSU wins a big win.
Correct.
You said they like a lot.
But even so putting them at 5 still does that, though. That's my point.
Right. All right. 4 Texas, big win against Alabama.
Yeah. Okay. If you want to start saying you're back, cool.
You're not there.
I mean, what's funny, and here's where I struggle, and you and I have both said this on the Huddle Up podcast, and we had our doubts about Alabama, and rightly so. Yeah. Right. Thank you, Joel Klatt.
That's good.
But I'm glad that Alabama is still being given respect, even though they're not as good as they've been in the past. Should Notre Dame be ahead of them? What the bleep is this trash?
Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there.
God,
So Texas
sorry.
Texas is not too high. That's a massive jump though for Texas from 11 to 4.
Yeah,
it's a
and
massive
they beat
jump.
Alabama.
Yeah, massive jump. And on the road too, and a fairly convincing game too. Also, I will say, pretty convincing.
You're having a hell of a time selling me on why there shouldn't have been that big a jump. Chief.
No, right. I'm not mad about it. Hey, look, I like this. College football feels fresh right now. I like it.
I mean, okay.
All right, USC at 5, cut on the radar, but they're doing their job out west.
Yeah, I think what people are seeing. First of all, I don't think like if you want. I'm not as mad at you if you want to put the Noles ahead of USC. That's cool. But seeing the defense be so much better than they were last year, I think is what's giving people hope. Yeah, I know they're playing cupcakes. Pile driving Stanford does not hold the same allure as it did back in the day. But Caleb Williams, man, damn it.
Yeah, he's that damn good. Ohio State at 6. I mean,
I think that's too high. I think they should be beneath Washington. I think Penn State is not a top 10 team. But who else on this list would I really put there right now other than them? So I would probably put Penn State at 9 ahead of Notre Dame at 10.
I feel like if Bama had not lost that game, I feel like Bama had not lost the way it did, maybe they would have gone so far down to 10.
Actually, people are mad at Bama at 10. I would get it. Tennessee, there's no way they're the 11th best team in the nation. That's trash.
All right, so Notre Dame's too high?
Notre Dame is too high. But, okay. I mean, it could be worse. It has been in the past, goodness knows. But, yeah.
So next week's the game, Notre Dame Ohio State, right? Next week, I believe?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I know this is a trash college week for schedules. So
and what could even happen is that they lose to Ohio State and still get a place depending on how things happen.
Right. So a lot of this is going to work itself out in a weeks to come anyway.
Except for Notre Dame, they'll always be in the top 25 because the committee pushes for them.
Right. Alabama at 10. Obviously, like, look, it's only only 2 weeks into the season. 2 weeks and 1 week 0 into the season. Is it early to write them off?
From what?
Because they didn't even. I mean,
the West is still wide open. There's still a path for this Alabama team to make it to a conference championship
and get in, of course, into the playoff. Do you? Here's the question: do you see that happening? Though, is the question. No. I don't. I think I see a loss or two on the schedule.
Here's the reason why you will not have 2 SEC teams this year. He says as an SEC
apologist,
cheerleader. I would
close
say.
to it.
Yeah. No, listen, they're the best college football conference. It's not close. And they used to be the best college football that money can buy, and then NIL happened. Anyways, I love every opportunity to make that joke, EJ Christian. But USC is too good.
Okay.
The Seminoles are too good right now. Now, if the Seminoles fall off, man, listen, Clemson falling apart this year hurts you.
Absolutely, without question. Let's go to Alabama schedule real quick, though, just for funsies, because this will obviously make the case here. So South Florida this week should be a win, right? Oh wait, you're saying upset alert?
No, it's always fun to watch the Cows lose.
Okay. Ole Miss 17. Ole Miss on the schedule.
I mean, that's listen, that's attached to some stuff.
And we see recent history, they've beaten them in recent history too.
I'm not trying to tell you the road is easy, but that's why there's a path for Alabama to get to the championship and make noise and have people at least talk about it enough to put. It's possible for Bama to be ranked high enough and for Saban to be just as allegedly ticked off as it was last year that he didn't get a playoff spot.
Yeah. Mississippi State should be a win even on the road. A&M. More than later.
They're going to crush A&M.
More than them later. We're going to close over A&M.
Later.
Yeah, we got a lot of A&M talk here. Arkansas should be a win at home.
Speaking of that, Miami should not be a top 25 team yet. Anyways, continue.
Okay. Tennessee at home.
That's a win.
Okay. LSU the week after that.
Okay, that's a problem.
That's a problem. Yes.
It's not. They won't win both of those games, is what I'm telling you.
So maybe one more loss in the schedule. They got Kentucky should win that game. Chattanooga should win that game, and then Auburn on the road. How good's Auburn? Is Auburn still pretty bad this year?
Yeah, but I mean, you know how the Iron Bowl is.
Yeah, of course. So maybe one more loss. Maybe they figured out their offense by the time they get to November, and who knows? Maybe Florida State loses a game here. Maybe Texas, forgazes everybody else. Bama still has a road to get into that top 5-4 conversation going to conference championship weekend. So yeah, I'm not writing them off this yet, just based on that alone. But yeah, they gotta get the work to do though. All right, Lebanon, Tennessee, too high, right? You said
absolutely.
12 is. Who else 12? That's am I seeing things here? UU.
That's Utah.
Utah, yeah. Fuck Utah. They screwed my parlay this weekend too. Fuck them.
Yeah, but that's part of why they belong there is because they screwed your parlay.
Shut up. Pac-12 deep, apparently, according to experts. We'll get there in a second.
Well, okay, they might be deep. They got a few teams at the top, but when anybody hits somebody that plays defense, we'll talk.
Yeah, it works a lot in the weeks to come. Like I said, Oregon 13.
Okay.
Meh. 14 is LSU.
I mean,
it was a little low. Granted, they got blown up by Florida State, but yeah.
Yeah, people that I know it's a blowout on the final scoreboard, but people forget that LSU was winning that game.
Yeah,
in the first half.
halftime. Yeah,
right. But they'll, they just got to put it in the rear view, man.
Kansas State 15. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's in years past. Like last year, I would have been very meh about, or I would have been very unhappy with a Big 12 team finally making the top 25 here. But no, I think for this year it's accurate.
Who's number 16? Is that Oklahoma State? No,
it's Oregon.
Oregon State, right? Oregon State Beavers. Okay, 17 Ole Miss. They'll have a chance to climb.
That's absolutely stupid that you're putting Oregon State ahead of both Ole Miss and to give away at 18 the Colorado Buffalo. There's no way Oregon State should be ahead of Dion and company.
Okay, so let's talk about Colorado a bit. A little section of Colorado here. Here's my fear with the Colorado talk, and I love the story. You know that. Well, you and I both all in with Dion. You and I both.
Well, hold on. You're all in. I'm just fascinated.
I'm both.
Well, I mean, all in implies fascination. I'm a step below you. You're all like, woo, and I'm like,
I love Deion Sanders. I'm a Deion Mark, and it's the same guy. Yeah, Florida State, of course. Yeah, absolutely. You're damn right. You're damn right. Yes.
This was great voice acting practice.
I know.
By the way, Homer.
And this is the same guy that played the fucking Cowboys and Niners, and I forgave him for that. Okay.
Well, yeah,
and Redskins too.
It was for 1 year. And, but dude, the most impressive one to me is still like the Ravens when he was 37 and punt returning.
And he was still pretty good.
He was awesome.
Yeah. My fear of Colorado, and I suppose Colorado themselves, is the hype around that. There's a lot of hype around with a lot of mean pundits. And look, I get it. Is that they're becoming a little to the point where they're overvalued to the point where when they do lose a game or two or three, there's no room for real analysis that this school, was just 1-11 last year. And now the expectations have shifted dramatically in 2 weeks now from, if we win more than 3.5 games this year, it's a success, to now, if they don't win 6 or more, it's a failure.
Let me tell you why I like what's happening.
Yeah.
And this isn't about whether it's right or wrong. Let me tell you why I like it. The Buffalo won a single game last year, right? We all know that. Picked a win or whatever. Mm-hmm. But somebody out there thought to themselves, over and above the stupid numbers they put up, by the way, we saw them struggle a little bit against a team that isn't all finesse, that was actually tougher up front. Granted, Nebraska's crap on offense. I get it. But I think it's the way that they bounced back at the end and still, after coming out basically flat in quarter one, half one, you could even argue, they still blew the game open in the second half to make it a dominant blowout win. So I think that says plenty too.
Right.
But the reason why it's good, they're at 18. Let's say they come out in 2 weeks and nix Bo in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Then what do you do? Are they good enough to be at 13 instead of Oregon at that point?
Well, if they win in Oregon in 2 weeks, man, that's going to change everything.
If they win in Oregon in 2 weeks, would they be good enough to be 13 where Oregon is currently?
Absolutely.
Okay, that answers that question.
That have quality win on the belt now.
Following week, it's either the following week or 2 weeks later.
All right, hold. I'll bring it right now.
Well, we don't need to go through the whole schedule, but they also have USC. Can you imagine? If they beat Caleb Williams and USC? Now, let me lead with this. They won't. But if they do, Ernest Christian, then why shouldn't they be this high?
Well, here's the thing. Both those games were in back-to-back weeks.
I'm aware of that.
So
I said it could be 1 or 2, but yeah, you're confirming.
If they somehow even win one of these 2 games, they're going to be a top, because.
See, this is the unfair advantage that Dion gets, right? The what's here, and this isn't the committee, obviously, but what's here and why it's good is if USC and Oregon both topple back-to-back weeks to Colorado. They won't. They need to be given the kind of consideration that USC was being given previously, should they not?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, granted, the reason why they're getting this much love is because Dion's Dion, and, he's got roots that stray out into the college football world as such, so he's going to get love and support more than other coaches will. Like, Hugh Freeze is not going to be as popular as Deion Sanders. Obviously, popularity matters there.
Yeah.
But I think I like the fact that the Buffalo are in position to be properly rewarded should they win those back-to-back weeks. Now, what I think is a problem is when they don't, they'll still get a little too much buzz. But, we'll see how it shakes out. But I'm not mad at the Buffalo currently at 18.
Right. I just don't want people to have this overzealous and, unfair expectations for the school. It was 1-11 last year. Granted, I understand Dion says we're here to win, I get all that, but it's supposed to be measured to some degree too.
But 1,000 yards in 2 games, man. Damn it.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Good whoever you are.
Yeah. You're right. All right, 19, Oklahoma.
Too high, but I know why.
Really? Carolina 20.
That's ridiculous too.
Duke 21.
I know. We know why they're there. It's because people still believe in Dabo, and they should.
Oh. Yeah, and by the way, I don't even know if they're gone.
Yeah,
they were 25 last week.
So. Yeah, right?
they were 25 last week. 22 the Canes.
Yeah, I mean,
too much weight into that A&M win, right? Of course.
Yeah, if they were another team that wasn't rooted in history, they would not have gotten this kind of love.
Yeah, 23 the Cougars, Washington State Cougars, 24.
They should be 25.
All right.
Iowa should be knocked out.
UCLA 24.
Yeah, I can't come up with a team off the top of my head that should sub them in, but
like it matters. UCLA 24, 25 Iowa.
Which that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Pac-12, a lot of Pac-12 representation here.
Yeah, they light up the stat sheet.
Yeah.
And they play a lot of cupcakes. There's not been any real big Pac-12 games yet other than Colorado.
Right. And look, it'll shake itself out. I know Joe Clyde was saying that, the Pac-12 deepest conference right now of college football. Yeah, through 2 weeks. That's not saying much. Through 2 weeks. This will all shake out by week 5, week 6. Half the season will be probably gone out of the top 25 by the time.
If that's what it takes, and I think you're citing Joel Klatt's take, if that's what it takes for Joel Klatt to show some bias, I don't blame him. Like, his alma mater is blowing up, and the conference they're in is blowing up, and only now is he really saying stuff that shows any sort of bias in its head. Man, you know what? You're still the premier college football podcast guy, when you aren't coming to talk to us here. There you go.
Yeah, and yet the SEC still has 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 teams in top 25. Like they do it like on every year, like nothing. Who cares? 5. I didn't include Georgia. Sorry about that. Shouldn't
they?
That's what I'm saying. But like he's saying something that like SEC always does on a regular basis. Who cares? I'm not shocked by that. So
wait,
it is.
Are we counting Texas as the SEC?
No, not yet. Next year.
It's a joke, buddy. Take
it. Wait, your turn. Anyway, all right. One last thing to take you out of here. Jimbo Fisher, A&M. Should be on the hot seat.
You worded that in such a fashion that now suddenly it's difficult. Should he be? Yes. Will he be? No.
We know why, because that money they paid him.
That money on that buyout is stupid, y'all.
Yeah, I saw it written on Clat's pod that yesterday. Was pretty fucking insane.
If he loses the next 3 years, they'll still have to pay $58 million to buy him out.
Yeah. Yeah. What a failure, though. I mean, when you think about it, like expectations, like they've teased at times being a possible top 3 team in the SEC, and then when they get to a big game against whoever, they just fall apart every year.
Bro,
every year.
The SEC is tough. You're gonna try to tell me? Well, and listen, look at where Jimbo got his success, right? EJ Christian,
my place,
right? In what division, or what conference, I should say?
The ACC.
Your lame ACC. So of course he built up a resume that made someone stupid enough to hire him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. They probably won't fire him because of that money.
Right.
But man, it might be tempting at this point to at least consider it, given the fact that
the boosters are going to determine the direction on that. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anything else on this docket got to clear up here before we get out of here? And I know swapping stat else here too about A&M. 1-7 versus the last 8 versus Power 5 opponents.
Yeah, that's right.
Bad. That's bad.
And I like the part where Klatt said that's not ranked opponents, it's Power 5 opponents.
Yeah.
It's
any Power 5 opponent. Yeah.
So. Which could include Kent State. It does.
Yes. Not saying it is on there, but more on that later. Plug away, Kyle.
Honor, joy, and privilege, EJ Christian. Little insulted you didn't bring up the UCF Knights clinging to a victory against Boise State. Bing! Black and gold banneret. Check it out.
Oh, good job.
Yeah. Then Black and gold banneret. The second edition of Night Class. You can check that out on the blackandgoldbanneret.com. Of course, you can hear me on the Night Shift podcast. You're coming up this week on the Black and Gold Banneret, talking about that and seeing what life without John Rice Plumlee might look like since he got hurt at the end of the game there. Right. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash. Still the game. You find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Threads as the SOTG. Do we still care about that or not? I don't know.
I haven't used it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. On Facebook as a student of the game, where you can find the streaming of the Student of the Game podcast, as well as the Duval Dive Student of the Game podcast, of course, being at 8:40 p.m. on Wednesday night Eastern, and the Duval Dive 11 a.m. Eastern on Friday with my man, Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country. Of course, you can check out my writings this past week with the Jaguar Report of SI. I wrote about Calvin Ridley blowing that game open, and man, what a journey for that dude to have a game like that.
Yeah.
Make sure you check that out on the Jaguar Report, as well as all my teammates there who came out with some fantastic stuff, walking you through the Indianapolis Colts victory. Also, check out, mention Black and Gold Banneret, and my work with the 3-point conversion as well. Hulla podcast as well.
Tonight.
Yep, tonight as we record this. But hey, check out the Hulla podcast pod separately. I'm sure you'll have a great time with that. Also, newest edition, you miss all that, and you're wanting to check stuff out just before kickoff, 12 noon on Sunday, go to oldschool101.com to see re-airings of the Duval Dive and the Student Game podcast.
That's it.
Honor, joy, and privilege, EJ Christian. Class dismissed.